Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for Game Day Eve. It's time to talk all things black and white. Ladies and gents, Pi Espresso is proudly sponsored by TSNL, Melbourne's trusted signage specialist for commercial LED and neon signage. For more information, the link is in the description. They're Melbourne owned, Melbourne operated, and service all of Victoria. Ladies and gents, welcome. Here we are. Bit of housekeeping at the top of the show. Some of you might be wondering, what are we doing here at 7 o'clock? So for the most part, for the early parts of the week going into the season, Monday and Tuesday will most likely be a 7 p.m. Wednesday will still be around that 6 p.m. slot, maybe 5:45. And then moving the magnets, typically we go from 5:30 to about 6:30 to react to the live teams, which is usually released at 6:15, 6:20. And then the rest of the week is completely dependent on how our match week looks. But Monday, Tuesday, certainly 7 p.m. And seeing as there's no official, it's not an official. There is a team release, which we'll talk to in just one moment, but it's not quite moving the magnets just yet. So this Pies Presser makeshift trial will be what it is tonight. But I hope we're all doing well. Benny, here we are. Chris, dog. Righto. Chris Talbot, how are we? Benny Zero, Josh Jacobs. Evening Clark. Kent Clark, you reckon? That's a shout. That's a shout, mate. Nah, look, guys. Game Day Eve. I hope you guys are just as pumped as I am. I don't know where the season will lead us, but it starts tomorrow at some level. And there's some interesting players we want to keep an eye on. So what I might do is we'll do this whole little thing. So the team list has been revealed. So I actually have been holding off on this so I can see live with you guys what we're expecting. 4 by 25-minute quarters, no time on, 11 a.m. tomorrow. How pumped? Yes, Manny to Manny. We'll talk about the will situation in a moment. We'll get there. Send me a copy of your will there. Ella. You know, I always say that you always know, the season is nearby when Manny's in the chat. Yep. So, Collingwood's list for tomorrow. Geordie, which is huge. Bruzzy, Elliott, Houston, Pendles. D-Mac, which is huge. Guys, a real big positive is the fact that players like Quaynor, McStay, Houston, and the likes were under injury clouds for the most part of the preseason, and now they're available for a practice match tomorrow, which is huge. How much they play, I don't know, but let's see. Di Mattia, Will Parker, Ed Allen, Frampton, Prindables, huge. Big Illaroo, I'm sure we'll see what his involvement looks like. It will, assuming that will be in the back line. Oscar Steen, really excited. Still side bottom. Jacob Ryan, old mate Crispy. Cochrane, another one we're all pumped about. Membry. West is at the top of that list as far as hype is concerned. Bo, another player who has been under an injury cloud for quite some time. He's found his way back. Same goes for Lockie Sullivan, Jack Buller, Harvey Harrison, Will Hayes, Angus Anderson, Rowan Steele. So some more interesting names there. As I had predicted, I still think, and maybe you guys will agree, maybe you guys won't, I think Will Hayes is still ahead of Jai Saxona, and I think Will Hayes played relatively well. Benny Zero can speak to that in the preseason intra-club match they had on Friday. So that's really exciting. And then, big Angry Anderson, that's a big one as well. Now that talks to the absences. We obviously DC and Nick have all played in the State of Origin. Lipinski, not too sure what's happening there. Josh, probably management. Lockie Schultz was doing rehab in the main training session, so this was expected. I don't think he'll be out for very long, so don't stress. Perryman, probably some form of management. TJ is one is that a non-selection? Bobby Hill we know, Reef we know, Darcy Moore we know, Swaddling, okay, makes sense. McCarthy, okay, makes sense. Jeremy Howe, makes sense. Noah Howes is an interesting one. Can't say I've seen much with Noah Howes this preseason, but maybe he's one of those players when he actually plays the game in a competitive nature, then maybe it's a different outlook, right? And then Jai Saxoner, that will take time. And Ned Long's an interesting one. I'm not sure, like, I'm not sure what this one's about with Ned Long and Noah Howes, and TJ's probably the biggest absence there in the context of things. I don't know. Is he hurt? TJ out is telling he's not, if he's not hurt. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm not sure if we'll get much context or clarity around it. So that I assume that one would be a matter of, yeah, I've got no idea. Your guess is as good as mine at this point, but he's been training. He's been getting through sessions. He trained on Wednesday, so I'm not too sure what they're aiming for here. Maybe they really do want to try Big Roo. Anyone else here that Joel Cochran, these players, they really want to give these players specific minutes in a back line that TJ would rather take. So maybe they've got rite of passage first. Just chuck Sidey up forward. He'll kick 4 at least easily. I mean, he played a bit of forward towards the back end of last year. I remember that. I know Ben Zero was hot on that. It was very hot on that late in the season. That worked out quite well, didn't it? So that's something, isn't it? That is certainly something. Now, the OCD in me is telling me that this celebrate thing is either... Is it 2? Hold on a second. Something's not quite even on my screen, and I'm going to have some grave issues if it's... am I having issues? Nah. I think it's just me doing my head in. Is it? Yeah, that's just the me problem, isn't it? It's totally fine. It's absolutely well and truly totally fine. But the OCD prevails once again, makes me look like a dickhead. What are we feeling, guys, going into this practice match? Are we happy with the team list? Are we intrigued with some names missing? Are we intrigued with some names being selected? I mean, in some ways, we have to credit the high performance team. Like they've found a way to manage these guys pre-season, and they've gotten us into a point where we're at an important milestone, that being our first practice match. Just a practice game, but using Pendles and Sidey in the periphery roles of halfback and half forward, yeah, it will be interesting to see. I think it will work, Digsby. I think it will work. Is it just me, or has YouTube stopped working? What do you mean? What's wrong? Is the stream working? Hold on a sec. Let me go here. Might be you. Looks fine. Looks fine. And call. Mate, I'm streaming. How do you want me to call you? When did you call me? You called me at 6:56 p.m. How am I going to answer that? Low key, you should start a Supercoach League. Don't know about that. Yeah, don't know about starting a Supercoach League. I'm going to release a tipping competition. Probably release that next week. That's definitely a plan of attack. So keep an eye out for that, Marvel. Hope you're well. And what are our thoughts on this whole Will situation? So there's a bit of some reasonable uproar, or not reasonable, but a large amount of uproar with regards to the reaction to Collingwood asking if members would like to consider amending their will to bequeath Collingwood in their will. Look, make a meal of it if you want. I think it's quite simple. We're already contributing to the club in a charity. Some of us are contributing to the club in a charitable fashion, and that is paying for membership. Yes, you get benefits with the membership, but for many people, it's a matter of also just supporting the club rather than the incentive, right? When you pass away, which will happen with everyone, you'd like to think that you'd want to leave something for someone, and it's like you got your kids and everything else, but I think if there's room for you to put something forward to the club and pay it forward or whatever you want to call it, then so be it. No dramas. The stream is good. Did you call me at 2:06, Chris? No, you didn't. I'll show you on my phone right now, lad. Truthfully, lad. No call at 2:06, mate. Sorry. Check your phone, mate. Cop that. Oversensitive, yeah. Are you serious, Matthew? Are you serious in what way? If you've got no one to leave your money to, you might as well. And like, even if you leave money for your kids, and if you might want to leave $1,000 to the club, like that's a couple years of membership, isn't it? So I'm sure they're not asking for $1 million. Honestly, doesn't every club do it? Josh, exactly my thoughts. I think the English Premier League do it. Some clubs in the AFL do it. It's just because it's a Collingwood letter. It caught headlines. Honestly, if you don't want to, just chuck the letter out. No thanks, pies, and it's simple. Get on with it. Yep, agreed. Matthew, you said, are you serious? What do you mean? Do you disagree? Do you disagree? Let's see. Okay, so the stream, you guys are saying, oh, it's all good, cool. If a letter like that so easily offends you, there's bigger problems. Agreed? Is anyone here going to the game tomorrow? Have you guys got your KO back on? What's the go there? I know the fees for KO keep going up, so there's that. I know it's in Bandura, so maybe some of you are taking your kids there or taking time off work. What's the play there? What are we saying? Matthew, wait, I'm eagerly awaiting your response there. Go the Pies. How you going, mate? You good? You're good. What I'll also do, guys, is as usual, while we're making this work in the meanwhile, $46 for 4K. Yeah, it's a lot. If anyone wants to jump into the Discord and have a chat, I'm now in there. Get this sorted. Bear with. Anybody want to have a quick chat? You think Reef could play opening round? Maybe if he plays against. If he plays against North Melbourne, I think he's every chance. Yeah, grateful that KO are covering that, which is huge. But it all depends on how the broadcast is. That's important, Cruz. If the angles are garbage, I will spew up. I will spew. Close this. But yeah, I think Reef ticked the big box this week in the training form, and now it's just a matter of can he play something in a Ballarat or get some minutes there. I think like I said, maybe halfway through the first season is where I see someone like Reef coming back. Huge news that Harvey Harrison's available, so that's exciting. If we don't have Howe, Moore, and Reef opening round, it's going to be hard to win. Look, we've done it without a Billy Frampton before, or a Jeremy Howe or a Darcy Moore, but to be missing Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe at the same time in particular is a tough one. I think it's piss poor to ask to be in Fansville, especially as how often the side gives its fan heart attacks. I'll take the blurriness because I'm struggling here. The focus is hurting my eyes. I think it's piss poor to ask. You gotta speak better English to me, Matthew. If you've watched some of the KO games already, the quality is terrible for the practice games. It's like work experience kids doing the camera, and the quality is shocking. I remember, was it the VF? What was it? There was a game last year. Maybe it was the VFL game before the main game for the Gold Coast stream. So we had a double header, and I remember that reserve game. I'm pretty sure that was the game where the broadcast was just god awful. They don't display the correct scores. Interesting. End times, how you going, mate? Wow. When I'm just getting used to these glasses, but when I take them off, I realize I've been living in suboptimal vision conditions because the difference between them on and off right now is substantial. It's on Foxtel. That's handy. Handy that. What's a poll? What's a poll we can vibe with, guys? Let's see. Oh, are you Is there much to take out of tomorrow's game going into it? Let's see. Yes, no, maybe. We'll give you a non-binary option. A maybe. I reckon that's the play, huh? MD, I will not be going to the game, but what I will do is I can promise that we will do a post-game show. So that's something we're definitely going to do. Is Houston going to come good? That is a good question. Time will tell, man. I mean, that's the obvious answer, isn't it? It's the obvious answer, and it's probably the only answer at this point. If you base it off how recent Collingwood players have gone after a difficult year, being Lockie Schultz being the most recent one, then you'd like to think that Houston, at the very least, will have the right resources around him to bounce back. All good, mate. Take your time. Don't stress. Don't stress, Benny. No dramas if it's not possible. But yeah, guys, obviously the 7 p.m. vote for Pies Presser was like 66%. So, if that's what works best, and that's something we'll roll with that. All clubs do have a legacy donation option if any member wishes to take the option. For some reason, ours became public and put in a spotlight, and suddenly there's an uproar. It's commonplace, exactly. It's just, like I said, you paint the letter in black and white, and it becomes a big issue. Like it's something that's never happened before. How do you think Lippi will go this year? Lipinski is always a really good pre-season player. He just does so well because his running capacity and he's clean by foot, and it's you're not building up a massive bumps and bruises in the preseason, are you? So a lot of your polish does show off. Does he have an extra gear, whether that be 5 or 10%? I'm not too sure. And that's something we'll probably, if we don't know it already, then we'll find out this year if Lipinski has that extra 10% in him. But I think if there's ever a 10% extra that exists for a Lipinski, it's probably in the midfield. And I don't know if he's in that consideration just yet, or if he ever will be. I know he played a bit of on-ball for the Bulldogs, but I think you've got to have a bit of dog in you in some ways to play midfield. I just don't quite think he has that. You think there is a bit to take out of it for the likes of Harry Di Mattia and Ed Allen, see if they're up to the level and get to the likes of Angry and Printable in action? Do you reckon that will? I reckon that might light up a fire up their ass, Ed Allen and Di Mattia, seeing that Printable and Angry Anderson are right there, trying to put their hand up for opening round. I think that will create this internal competition, which is good. Lipinski will only be in the 23 if he actually attacks the ball. Too many times he looks scared to get the ball. The pill, sometimes, yeah. That's been I guess if there's an Achilles heel in Lipinski's game, it's probably that. But I don't know if you can't fake that, can you? You're going to Bandura MD. Huge. Enjoy. Rossi, you be going to the game? Parking will be an issue there tomorrow. Might have to park at the university, but it's not cheap. Just a heads up to everyone going. Yes, there's always a cost, isn't there, MD? Unfortunately, unless you take, even if you take public transport, right? Lipper is a fly pet. He never be dropped. They're dating. Some of you say there's something to take out of the practice match. Some of you saying not really. Fair enough. But you're seeing the kids are definitely important. I think, yeah, Charlie West, Printable, Cochrane, Angry Anderson, Bo. I'm hoping we can see a lot of Bo in the midfield. That's going to be exciting. I don't care if it's a practice match. I think we've all we know with Bo at AFL level is that he's a 10-touch player with a bunch of tackles, and a goal here and there. We all know that he has more than that, and it starts with games like tomorrow. I think his disposal record, might be 20 touches. I think it was against Geelong in 2020, at the start of 2023, I want to say, or 2022. He had 20 touches and 2 goals. That's probably his highest disposal count in his whole career. I'm not saying he needs to exceed that to be the player we want him to be, but it'd be nice if he could, is it hard to ask to find a way to get Bo to have the ball 15 times and kick 2 goals, You reckon catching a tram, huh? Lipper, I reckon he needs to be pushed out of the team for us to be serious this year. You reckon? I think there's something. I think there's still something left with Lipper, but this year will be probably a big telling story in which way his career goes after this. That's for sure. Absolutely. Vic Park, how are we going, mate? Matt De La Cruz, Bo needs to shake and bake like he used to. What do you mean? I think he's added to his game. It just hasn't been in enough volume. I think he can shake and bake. I think his ability to gather the ball has improved. He doesn't fumble as much. His use by foot is better. I think he's got a lot of potential. I really do. I think Ned Long needs to get pushed out for us as he doesn't win the ball and his decision making is very questionable. Yeah, I mean, look, he had a good season last year and he's just another player who's somewhat on the watch list to see if he can build on what he started last year. So watch this space, Josh. Don't know why he's not in the team though. I'm not too sure what the go is there. Maybe it's the same. We want to give Prindable and Angry Anderson Ned Long's minutes. I think that's what it is. I really do think that's what that is. Would you guys agree that there's certain players who would play aren't playing to allow for minutes to really find out about players who are like on the cusp of being selected for opening round? Catch a tram or mate, Vic Park. I'm gonna start calling you Melways, Stewie. You've lost the nickname in Mr. Vic Park. You're gonna get Mr. Melways. I reckon we should have rested Ned Long last year. Struggled in the second half. He's still real young. He's real young, and that's a reality, isn't it? And you do get excited. You do still get exhausted as a young player, especially when you've reached such a height in such a quick time frame. So I think there's a lot to like. There could be a lot to like with Ned Long. It's just a matter of can he add to, and work on some of his sticking points at the moment. That being decision making, kicking at times, and just being cleaner in the contest. I imagine he'll be asked to play a bit of forward at times this year, as that happened in the second half of the year. Dwayne Russell entered the chat. Shake and bake, huh? Peter G says, I'm looking forward to seeing the return of Harrison. The performance of Steen, Cochrane and Buller will be closely watched. Hopefully Anderson gets a good run and puts his hand up for selection. Yeah, so I imagine maybe like the likes of Anderson and Printable, maybe they get the second half and maybe like a Pendles and a DeGoey rest the second half, something like that. They play the first half. Stewways. Love that. Love that. The Stewways. Yeah, so I would say, while the poll only says 37% is a yes, if there's much to take out, I'm a part of that 37%, I would say. I definitely think there's a bit to take out, always, regardless of the result. Printable can be as good as Matt Rowell. Wow. Where does that come from, though? End times. As much as I'd like to believe that and dream about that, where does that thought come from? Like, how can you possibly suggest that Printable could be in the same stratosphere as Matt Rowell? Like, Matt Rowell is a unicorn in his own way. I think Printable and Anderson will both be in the side this year and push Lipinski and Long out of the Collingwood team. That's a huge call, Chris. Can we get a screenshot there? Can we get a screenshot on that one? And we'll revisit that halfway through the year. Oh, these hiccups, man. Fuck. What do you reckon? How's that for a look? Got that at Intra Club? 35. So we got that at the Intra Club. We got this little ball, this little stress ball, or if you want it, whatever you want to call it, with the Collingwood logo. Handy. Prindle 3 votes. I would say one of Prindleberry and Anderson will debut against the Saints. I'd be willing to bet on that, Peter, for sure. They're of the same make. I'm not sure end times. We'll see. We'll see, mate. Blake Sergio Vanni. Bo is just missing the start quality. He has the potential to be 25 plus and 1 if he works more with the mids. Mate, that is the biggest barrier. Is just, can he play more midfield time? That is what is holding him back. Can his body hold up to the intensity of midfield minutes? And if he can withstand that, then we can truly judge whether Bo's going to be this or that. Who the fuck is Printable, says Hazza. All right, you'll get to know him soon, mate. You'll get to know him soon. Quality lad. Quality player. He'll be good. Hopefully. Pendlebury's bot. Drink a glass of water from the other side of the glass. Now, if I did that, what would happen, Stu? Drink a glass of water from the other side of the glass. What does that even mean? What is that? What are you saying, mate? My ancestors, thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. Mate, I take great pride in getting as many surnames right in this chat. So I'll add that to the list, huh? Blake. Blake isn't Italian, though. No? Who are your top 3 players you'll be watching tomorrow, asks Jack. I'm going to say Charlie West, Prindable, and Joel Cochran. How about that? If Moore and Howe both miss against the Saints, we could have McGuinness and Cochran playing. It's very possible if McGuinness is available, yes. Cochran, you'd almost argue he's a shoo-in based on the availability right now. But I dare say Darcy Moore will play against North Melbourne next Sunday. Do you think Swaddling and Di Mattia could make their debut? I think Di Mattia will make his debut this year. I do. Swaddling, I'm not too sure. He's a good player, has potential, as do, like, if you're in the AFL, you have potential in some way, right? The game is on at 11 a.m., Matt, and then we'll probably do a post-game show at like 2 or 3. I'm thinking it may be a 2 o'clock job. So, curious, if I do run a post-game show at 2 p.m., you guys are going to be able to catch it live, or how would you go about that? I am curious. I know, generally speaking, Friday is quite flexible for most of you, so that's why I'm keen on running it shortly after the game's concluded. So I'd like to get your thoughts on that, guys. You reckon yes to Cochran? Huge. Still 41% yes. There is a bit to take out of tomorrow's game. 2 p.m. is a listen-only time slot, mate. That's fine. I think most people will be, if they can't watch it on a Friday, I think it might be a listen job. Hope this new game style we're hearing suits Houston better. I think it will. And with Josh in the back line less, which will be almost a certainty this year, I think that helps Houston as well. Reef, no chance now. He is not even getting minutes in a practice match. Josh, I think he might play against North next week, mate. I really do think that. But in saying that, even if he was to play next week, I think we get Reef, if I had to guess, round 4, 5, 6 or something like that, I would say. 2 p.m, we all slack off on a Friday. All right, good to know. Swaddling will play before Di Mattia. In fact, all the new mids are ahead of Di Mattia already. Wow. That's a unpopular opinion. I can't subscribe to that just yet. Regardless of what I think about Di Mattia, I think to suggest that is a bit wild, Matthew, no? But, like, mate, I bat for any guy who wears a black and white. Like, I think Di Mattia, we've put a bit of time into him now. He's been in the system for 2 years, and he won the VFL BNF. I'm hoping he can become something. I really am, but we'll see. I agree, Harry D. True. Stefanos, 2 p.m.'s good. All right. Huge. Huge that. What else are we saying, guys, going into tomorrow? Let's go back to this list and see if there's any names that we haven't touched on here. Oscar Steen, mate, that's going to be... So Oscar Steen is another one who will play big minutes in the ruck without Darcy Cameron. Who does he play against? Is Nick Madden there? You know what's interesting, guys? Okay, is Briggs here? Kieran Briggs is here. Nick Madden gave Oscar Steen a bit of a bath in the VFL. So this alone will be an interesting matchup to see how far along both these players have come. But yeah, against Briggsy will be interesting. Illaru, I thought, okay, defensive, a bit of a defensive presence, but also forgetting that Darcy Cameron won't be playing. So Illaru will probably play a bit of ruck as well. JR's another name we want to see. Sully will play forward. Probably play that high half forward. I don't know how many midfield minutes he'll get. Buller will be exciting. Harrison will play forward. Maybe a bit of wing. But same goes to Will Hayes. He might play a bit of wing and forward as well. The game starts at 11. Yeah, MD, the game starts at 11. The post-game show on Pies Footy will start at 2 p.m. most likely. If you got what Nick said, Josh Dacos is playing mainly halfback. He said on Fox Sports today, he said he won't. He said we're not going to move him when he had his best season last year. Interesting that. Yeah, I don't know. I think Josh plays some midfield. My bet is 50-50. Or let's say 60% defense, 40% midfield. How about that? I reckon that's the one. I reckon that's a fair call. Duh, MD. Come on, mate. Get it right. Come on. Get it right then. Rowan Steele. Halfback should be Pendles and Houston. I reckon so. Nakos wants some forward time. Well, we saw that a bit last year, didn't we, Matt? So I think he gets a bit more of that. And obviously won't be tomorrow because he won't be playing. But, I mean, Nick is the son of Peter. So, and we've seen a bit of forward craft in his game already. So, yes. It's a resounding yes to more Nick in the forward line for sure. Do you think Smith and Cochrane are ready to be defended this year for a replacement? Problem is, Smith can't kick the ball. Quite bluntly, he just can't kick the footy. So that's a problem. But Joel Cochrane is he ready is one question, but can he do a job? I hope so. I think so. I think he's a chance. Josh has been doing a bit of both, Stewie. He's been doing a bit of midfield and forward. But yes, in the centre bounce work, he's been there for sure. He's absolutely been there. That's what I say. If we get a fit to go with this year, Nick can have more stints forward. Yes, this name. I reckon we get a half of this guy, maybe a half of this guy, and a half of this guy, and a half of this guy, and a half of this guy maybe. And that will round it out for the first half, and then second half we'll get more of the youngsters, I reckon. Cochrane will play a dozen games this year. I reckon that's fair. Voidoid. All right, that's a great call. It all starts with tomorrow, though, doesn't it? He'll be looking to impress, for sure. For sure, mate. It's that time, eh? It really is that time. We're getting there. We're getting there. But also, Joshy, like Geordie playing a bit of forward would be nice as well. So maybe they rotate in some ways, which I'm sure we'll see. We'll see many different rotations in the midfield this year. Want to see who can be a future Gick in a game tomorrow, mate. I don't know if you're going to find a future Gick. Surely not. This is it, Matt. While Josh has trained at times as a midfielder this preseason, Nick said he still expects his older brother to play predominantly across halfback. Let's see. Maybe it's smoke and mirrors, Josh. Maybe it's smoke and mirrors. Does Bo playing mean he's fit enough for opening round? Not entirely. I don't know if he plays the full game, to what level of time on ground he'll have. But if he's playing this practice match and he played an intra-club, then you think he's every chance to have an opportunity to play opening round. I think we need that. I think we need that speed. There's a need for speed, as some would say. True? Strap in, fellas. This is the Pies year. He had probably his best season at halfback, and he's played so well there. So I think he'll be lining up a halfback, the 23-year-old superstar added. Thank you for the quotes, Josh. Good man. You are the GOAT. Our teams, even with all the outs, make me way more excited than our selection choices last season. Early days, but that is a big squad there, right? That's a squad of 30. Do you think Howes and McStay could both go on the back line this year? Well, they're both not playing in the back line at the moment at training. So we will see them as forward line players for now. Chrissy? I reckon that's the move. Anything else we can see here? Anything trending in the Twitter sphere? Let's see. Anything there? Actually, hold on. I think Ben Zero has jumped into Discord. 1 second. Might get Benny in for a moment. Collingwood apologised after receiving a backlash over letters sent to older members about adding the club to their will. Hold on a minute. Let me get Benny Zero for a bit of action on this reaction. Hold on. Interesting. Jeez, stand by it, no? Stand your ground. Hold on a minute. Benny. Ben Zero, hold on. Hello.
Hear me?
Yo, can you hear me, Ben? Hello. Interesting. What's going on here? Hello. Okay. Benny, it's not working a bit later. But let's have a look at this. Collingwood has apologised after receiving a backlash over letters sent to the older members about adding the club to their will. All right, this will be interesting. Stand your ground, though. Collingwood had sent the letters to members over the age of 50, alerting them to the program, which involves the football club being added to a person's will. All 18 clubs have bequest societies with those willing to posthumously donate to their footy teams, given rewards such as memberships and special access to events. Okay. Cool. Yep, we know that. According to the Pies website, blah, blah, blah. Receive invitations to exclusive recognition events with guest speakers, including past and present players. A commemorative lapel pin and commemorative apron and access to certain games. So there are incentives if you do bequeath Collingwood into your will. While it's relatively common for groups like charities to reach out or for schools to contact alumni, Magpie CEO Craig Kelly apologised amid the backlash on Thursday evening. We sincerely apologise to anyone who felt upset or uncomfortable receiving this communication, particularly supporters currently navigating difficult circumstances. Our intention was to offer members the option to consider a legacy gift if they wish, something that is commonplace across many AFL clubs and organisations. Hawthorn has previously listed bequester funding in its annual report, with 87 having chosen to donate the club in their wills as of 2022. Melbourne launched its Ron Barassi Bequest Society in 2012 and lists 124 members, including Barassi himself. A number of our members are blah. Yep, okay. Interesting. So he apologized, but he also made it clear that it is commonplace and the intention was to give them a legacy gift. You know, some sort of benefit to being a part of it. So, anyhow. It's an apology, but it's nominally an apology, and it's probably all it seems to be, truthfully, right? Benny, let me try you again. Let me try you again, Ben. Hold on. Open Discord. It should be working, generally speaking. Here. Pop back in. Try you again. Audio, but one moment. Benny.
Can you hear me?
There he is. I can hear
I had to close on my laptop. Now it works.
Oh, beautiful. Did you hear what we just reacted to?
Yeah, the will letter.
Yeah, thoughts?
Oh, that's just don't be so easily.
It's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to apologize. Uh-oh. It's all happening, guys. Here now, Benny. Hold on. I've lost my camera as well. Pre-season has done a number. We're going to have to go with this camera, laptop camera. Hello. Oh, dear. Talk about a disaster midstream. All right. I think I'm going to leave it there, guys, because the camera has overheated. Normally I have my fan on, which does the job there. And so I need to make sure I have that on next time. And I think I might have to move back to StreamYard because Discord is just giving dramas. So, yeah, you crashed the cam with the hot topic. Yeah, I might have to go back to StreamYard, guys. I might have to cop the subscription there and get that back on board because it seems like while OBS's interface is nice, it's just StreamYard is more reliable for guests. So anyhow, guys, I'll leave you there. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. for the post-game show. Can't wait to see you all there in the post-game show. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, go Pies.